my mission is that to tell them you're wrong, come back. And the way to come back is to leave your ideas. Not keep them, leave them. Because they are the reason you went out. We want you back. We like you back here. We don't like you out there because there's going to be punishment for those who do that. So these sects and groups, I'm very tough with them, especially the Muslims. So some people ask me that, okay, I have debates with non-Muslims about Islam, whatever it is. Sometimes it gets heated, most of the time it is reasonable, it is okay. But my biggest debate is with Muslims who come and deviate from these practices, like we said. So 13 types of jihad, only one of them about warfare. We started with the whole religion. The whole religion was made a righteous religion, wasat, between the extremes. Not what comes between 1 and 3, but what comes between exaggeration and shortcoming. And the religion I give very, broad examples about how the religion takes the righteous path, about Allah, His names and attributes, about praying, fasting, and doing things for the sake of Allah so we can worship Him. We went down all the way to jihad. I said jihad actually is to apply your sharia in your entire life, because sharia means the entire religion. So your jihad in this life is to fight against the devil. Allah tells you don't steal, you don't steal. Allah told you don't do adultery, you don't do adultery. Allah told you not to do slander, you don't do slander. And we mentioned some other examples when we get down all the way to what people want to hear. Now, about jihad itself, since it takes the entire life and it has to do for the most part with my struggle within myself and with other people who live on this earth, it's supposed to bring the entire sharia in so that sharia can rule you in this regard. So, an example. One of the distant cousins of Prophet Muhammad and one of his best students, his name is Abdullah ibn Umar, said in an authentic narration that they provided, the chain of narration, usually the books of hadith. Remember, hadith means the Prophet's statements. We have chains of narration. There, in the books called Al-Bukhari, B-U-K-H-A-R-I, Bukhara is in Uzbekistan today, Bukhari, and Muslim. These are the two most authentic books that contain the Prophet's statements. Bukhari and Muslim report from Abdullah ibn Umar, using a chain of narration. We know everybody in the chain of narration, that once Rasulullah, meaning the Messenger of Allah Muhammad, saw a woman dead in one of his battles, and then he forbade killing women and children. So let's go down now, because we just started with the topic of jihad, meaning warfare. It's 1 of 13, and it is occasional. It's not the entire life. The entire life is your struggle to be good and to not abuse others or commit aggression, and to be good to your Creator too. So jihad here, when it comes to warfare, there are so many things I could say, but let me just throw things here. Here's the middle path. To begin with, anyone who starts warfare without an Islamic state led by a Muslim leader is going out of these doors. Understand what I said? Khuruj. They're going out, they're exiting, they're leaving the religion. Because in Islam, no group can come and form an armed gang in their area and they start doing war and peace. This madness that people see today from some Muslims, you can't do that. To begin with, before we start the topic about warfare, it is not for you to decide. It's for the people who are still in this room, who appointed this man as their leader. He's the one who decides who to war with and who to peace with. And if we understand this, then the entire foundation of these groups will be dissipated completely. Because in Pakistan, for example, you have that Al-Qaeda, you have the Taliban, but there is a legitimate Muslim government there. So by definition, when they started these groups, they already went out. So what comes after is based on ignorance and arrogance. Ignorance because, what are you talking about? The religion has been explained in so many ways, in so many books, by so many scholars that tell you it's not up to you to do war or peace. Then they deviate from it and get out. Rising up against Muslim rulers is another constant that has been written in the books of Islam from the beginning, that you cannot rise against Muslim rulers. Any book that you can find, 100 years old, 300, 700, 1400, you'll find these topics there, by the way. They haven't changed, except that people don't want to learn them or they didn't know about them, and they started doing things in the religion as they wish, according to their desires. Because if you want to follow the religion, you can't follow your desire, you have to follow the Sharia, the path, the middle, the wasat, what the Prophet actually is telling you, that's what you do. You don't do whatever comes to your mind. So they go now, they deviate from the jihad and go to two sides. Either they don't want to fight and defend their lands, and this is ridiculous because I was given a lecture at one university, I forgot which one, maybe in Austin, Texas, and I was saying to the people who were there, many of them non-Muslim, I said, do you believe Muslims have the right to defend themselves, their life, their honor, their land, their religion? None of them said yes. I said, regardless, we have the right to defend ourselves. Whenever we do defend, it is jihad. But it is jihad in this understanding, not what people are saying about it, all directions. You see what I'm saying? So whatever we do in defense of our religion, it is called jihad. I'm doing it right now by talking. You're doing it here by listening and trying to spread this news that I'm giving you today. So we mentioned this topic of jihad now because it is about extremism. They went to the extreme. Either they want to fight or they take it upon themselves to start an armed gang and start rising and killing and destroying and this and that. The middle Sharia, it is forbidden to kill anyone, Muslim or non-Muslim, without justification. The Prophet mentioned this as one of the 7 destructive sins. 7 destructive sins. One of them is killing a human life. So the Sharia already established that you can't kill people without justification, Muslim or non-Muslim. Then you find the exaggeration went from that door and they start killing everybody who is Muslim or non-Muslim. The religion says that you cannot go to a peaceful community and attack them who didn't attack Islam or Muslims. And I'll give you an example. The Yazidis, they call it, they're not Yazidis, the Yazidis they're called, but anyway, the Yazidis that people know now about, the Christian minority in Iraq. It is really sad what people do in the name of my religion, and I have never been a coward in my life. I'll confront these people until the day I die, because they are targeting my religion and the religion of the Muslims here with their extreme, despised understanding that has absolutely nothing to do with our religion. And I'll give you the proof now. Those people were in Iraq before Islam came. Then you have this group called ISIS, which came out of the vacuum that happened in Iraq because of you know what, the invasion that had absolutely no basis. That story is different, but anyway, ISIS came. And they go to this Christian community that historically sided with Muslims, actually. They didn't fight Muslims from the beginning. They were peaceful, and Muslims left them there since before Islam came, but they were there and they stayed there. So they come and attack them. The Sharia, the Wasat, tells you, you cannot attack people who are at peace with Muslims. You remember the word Bukhari? Bukhari is the closest book in accuracy to the Quran, written by Imam, his name is Bukhari. He is from the city of Bukhara in Uzbekistan today. He collected a statement from Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who said, anyone who kills a mu'ahad people who are at peace with Muslims, who live among Muslims, are called mu'ahad, will not smell the scent of paradise. Is this an encouragement or a threat? Is this an encouragement or a threat? Unbelievable, isn't it? So Muslims go and attack these people, and when they attack them, they steal their girls and start using them for so-called slaves, and they sell them and buy them. Now, let's go from the beginning. First of all, they shouldn't exist, this group, to begin with. They shouldn't be there. You shouldn't raise arms. You shouldn't operate within an Islamic state that has a ruler. You can't kill people without justification, and specifically this group that they attack, you can't do it. And because what they do is not a holy war, it's not holy in any way, it's not jihad in any way, the result of it is that they do what I explained in one of my articles. I have, it's a funny thing, I wanted to do this kind of lecture before in Richmond, Virginia, and some people there went behind my back and started talking to the university, this topic is, hard topic, this and that, we don't know this guy was going to say. I was going to talk about this, so I wrote an article in response. Are you interested in buying slave girls from ISIS? I just want people to read. So they take that title and give it to the administration in the university. This guy wants to sell slaves. So the guy actually read the article and said to them, are you crazy? One of them said, are you crazy? Look what he's saying here. What he's saying is that this is absolutely against the religion, brings statements from the major scholars of our time that what they're doing is not acceptable. It is murder. And what they're doing to the girls is adultery. They should be stoned for it. For people who asked me before, some Jewish people asked me about stoning that. I said, we got it from you. So stoning is what they have to get. And then they call themselves jihad, and then in the media, Islamists, Islamists, Islamical, Islamization. Bring anything and anyone to the crimes of people and stick the religion there. This is what they do. They stick the religion in the middle. So they talk about this, this group. I had a discussion, the article I mentioned, I just made, of course, it says that what the ISIS is doing is contradictory to Islam. Then I had a discussion with a Christian, we had debates, and he was saying, look what Islam does in Iraq to the Christians. I said, no, Islam didn't do that. It's some deviant Muslims who went from that door who did it. They're killing. I said, listen, the fact that they remained where they are in peace since the time of Muhammad until today proves that Islam doesn't allow anybody to attack them. Think about it. How did they remain? Who stopped Muslims from exterminating them if this is what the religion calls for? Absolutely not. So how did they remain until today for such criminals who come on the media? Yesterday he's a rapper. Some people yesterday they were thieves. Overnight they become mujahideen and they come and say, we gotta kill and do this and that and this and that. They don't represent me or the Sharia in any way or form, because the Sharia is the righteous path. Among the 7 destructive sins, to kill a person without justification. Let's go down to a little bit more. You see this that I call khuruj, exit, in Arabic means khuruj. Anyone who deviates from the religion, let's say this is the religion here, gets out to shortcoming or extremism, is one of the Khawarij. Khawarij is the term that people should use today. These Khawarij are the ones who rebelled, in definition, who rebel against the Sharia. So what they do is by definition against the Sharia. We understand that, right? By definition what they do is rebellion against the Sharia. So these Khawarij, we have to let people know about them. They are harming more Muslims than non-Muslims. Now let's go down again to the list. Killing a non-Muslim is not allowed. Killing a Muslim is even more not allowed. So these people know they kill most of the time Muslims, devastate Muslim areas. They come and bring all kinds of countries to attack them because they kill somebody from Chile. Chile, I have nothing to do with Chile, I don't even need it. They send planes to go and attack all these areas and kill civilians. They hide among civilians. I mean, the list of how these people rebel against the Sharia is so lengthy. I don't really need a book like this to do that. But, I'm not going to spend 10 months on them, but inshallah, Allah willing, we'll talk about them even more and more. There are more books coming about this topic. So, when you talk about these groups and the extremism they do, it's contradictory to the religion. The religion doesn't allow it, doesn't accept it. Islam cannot and will not allow you, as a Muslim, to attack anybody without justification. If you do it against Muslims, even more of a sin. And that's what they're doing. I don't agree with Obama on many things. Obama continued the policies of his predecessor, whatever. I'm not talking about him now. But he said something that I could agree with. He said out of 10 people that these groups kill, from Khawarij, groups, Qaeda, ISIS, Shabab, Boko Haram, whatever the names, Nusra, they're all the same thing, same idea. Out of every 10 people they kill, 9 are Muslim. I don't agree. Out of 100, every 100 people they kill, 99 are Muslims, and 1 is non-Muslim. So we are suffering from these people. To tie my religion to that is double stupid. Let me put it on tape. Stupid. First of all, my religion doesn't allow it. It's against it. By definition, they are Khawarij, they went out. They do all these sins that Islam doesn't allow, and they commit the biggest crimes against Muslims in their areas, but in the media they are called Islamic extremism. The miracle lady, Merkel, she says Islamic extremism. What do you know about Islam? You have absolutely no knowledge what Islam is about. They come on CNN and say, Islam is about cutting the hand of the thief. And another guy was there, said, they actually also cut the nose. If you steal, they cut the nose. I started laughing, because any idiot knows that we don't cut the nose. I mean, I asked, just a few days after that, I asked some people at University of Texas, Austin, I said, did any of you ever go to the Middle East? Yeah. Did you see people walking around without noses on? No? What is this guy talking about? But they made the Sharia to mean cutting the hand and doing this punishment, for crimes, when the Sharia is the entire religion. And Muslims help them do that. So this extremism, what does it mean? Every aspect they do, you will find it went either direction or both. It's either an exaggeration or a shortcoming. And what they do is that they stick it to the religion in the media. But this is very, very dangerous. This is the largest religion on earth. It's not 1,500 people sitting somewhere who became, or 1,000 people who went to Guyana and then started killing themselves. It's not about that. We have more than 1.5 billion people on earth who believe in Islam as their religion. So why would you antagonize the entire Muslim population, including those who consider themselves moderate, when you stick the religion in it? There is no extremism in religion. So the topic of today about Islam and its connection to extremism, I just gave it to you. We don't have it. Extremism, you go out. In fact, I found some of the major scholars of Islam from before and during our time, like the late Mufti of Saudi, Sheikh bin Baz, one of the major scholars of our time. He considers these groups like ISIS and Qaeda, actually in general, he considers them not to be Muslim anymore. Because when you count the things that they do and the creed they have, you will be amazed. So the last point I want to talk about, then we'll break for the prayer, and then I'll be happy to answer any question you have, no matter how difficult you think it is, I'll do that. Khawarij, khuruj, getting out, exiting the religion, has a foundation. And many Muslims don't understand this foundation. So many of them are sympathetic to these groups because they get back at, them Christians, they're doing this, them Americans, they're doing that, and this and that. But they don't realize that it's only a sideshow. What's the real essence of their creed? They believe that the Muslims who don't share their ideas are not Muslims. You understand? So this will make you now say, okay, I now understand why they kill, out of every 100 people they kill, 99 are Muslim, because they consider us non-Muslims because we don't share their ideas. You understand? This is the foundation of their deviation from the religion and exaggeration and extremism. This is the foundation of it. And if you think about what I just said, you will understand a lot why would somebody go to a masjid where people are praying Friday, men, women and children, and explode themselves in the middle of the Friday prayer, which is the most important prayer of the week for Muslims. Why would they do that? Unless they consider these people as nothing. Yet, many of these people sympathize with these people. So we have to make this connection severed completely, because they have nothing to do with our religion. They already went out from here or there, and their idea is about Islam belonging to them only. And then when they divide, they accuse each other of believing Islam too. And so on and so on. This is what they did throughout their life. So how can we deal with that? I've been trying to do my job, and I think I did it as much as I could since 1984. I called to the way of the Quran and the Sunnah and the way of the companions of Muhammad. And the companions of Muhammad use a term are called as-Salaf as-Salih, the righteous predecessors. We follow their way. And from knowing their way, I can quickly identify who's going where. Sometimes I meet somebody, I had my son-in-law introduce me somebody in Sacramento, and before that man started talking, he's a Muslim. Before he started, I told him, this man must be from this group. He said, you haven't met him? I said, I can smell it. He started speaking, I found out quickly about it. So these groups, their biggest problem, they didn't appear now. They appeared early on in the Islamic era. Their trouble is always on Muslims. And their trouble is always on Muslims to suffer, while they claim that they are the Muslims and everybody else isn't. Recently, they started engaging non-Muslims with the powerful media in the West that stuck Islam in the middle. So here we stand. I don't agree with ISIS, or Al-Qaeda, or Al-Nusra, or Boko Haram, or Al-Shabaab, or any of these groups. They already have left, and they might not be able to come back unless they discard this vicious